Yo, this is good. It's Praise Asalu or King Asalu back with another video. If you don't know who I am, I'm a college student and content creator. Today, if you can't tell by the title, I wanted to talk about why you're holding yourself back. I feel like I don't mean to point this towards people, but in reality, I'm speaking to the general, and I feel like we hold ourselves back by not ever really knowing what we want. It's
pretty common for a lot of people to really make decisions based on the surroundings or the people around them. Literally, since we were kids, we would probably want to be what we see. I know for me personally, ever since I was a child, my first sport was football, and I seen Ray Lewis playing football, and I was like, yo, I want to be a football player. That's what I thought I wanted in that time. But in reality, it's we never really get to figure out what we really want until later on in life, where it may be too late. Well, it may never actually be too late, but you may feel like you wasted time. Let's say, all right, we go through elementary school, you learn the basics, go through middle school, a little bit more high school. This is the step before you start life, and they expect you to know what you're supposed to go into for the rest of your life. But in reality, what have you learned about you? Have you found your passions? Have you found what you really wanted to do? Most of the time, I know for me, I made decisions based off my parents. Now, me being an African, of African descent or an immigrant descent, I guess. First generation, I don't know what to call it, man. But for me being that, I thought my parents wanted me to be one of the big three: doctor, lawyer, or engineer. And that was just placed in my head because that's what I saw all around me. That's what a lot of social media says about African people or immigrant people. That's what I could see in the African communities I was in. So I just thought, okay, I'm gonna just go with computer science. Now, personally, I do enjoy building. I loved building computers. I love gaming. I love learning all things about computers. But even in high school, I tried out computer science. It just didn't work out. I ended up in culinary. But later on, even in college, I was like, okay, let's just go to computer science route. I tell it to my parents, it's obviously not going to be a problem. And I just didn't have anything else I wanted to go for. Architecture is another thing that I thought I wanted to do, but in reality, I just like the whole designs of buildings, not the actual action of doing it. Later on through life, especially during COVID time, I had to take a step back and really understand myself. During that time, it was dude, is this really what you want? I'm sitting at the computer and it's 6:30 p.m. I have a late online class for network and security, and I'm just this is not what I want to do for the rest of my life. I can't sit at a computer coding, even though coincidentally, I'm literally sitting at a computer almost all the time now. But in that moment, I realized computer science was never what I actually wanted to do, but that fear that I was gonna let down my parents or that I was gonna disappoint them is what started holding me back. And I think that's the big thing that we could see in a lot of people's lives. I'm not gonna speak for everyone, but I know a lot of people that because of their parents' ideas or ideals, they want a certain career path in life and they probably don't even enjoy it. That's the biggest thing that a lot of people fail to realize, is that at the end of the day, you're living your life. There's no one else doing it for you. So if you end up with a certain job or in a certain career that you never actually enjoyed, then what are you really doing with yourself besides wasting your time? It's kind of wild because luckily I'm 22, well, I'm 21, and I finally came to that realization of what I actually wanted to do in life, my purpose, I would say so. But you can see people that are 30, 40, 50 that have been stuck in the rat race that we are constantly going through, keeping up with people, following whatever trends or whatever is good in the world that's making money right now. A lot of things we do are probably money based because that's what we know. The world runs on money. But how much money will give you happiness in reality? You can make all the money in the world, but if you was never happy with it, then it's useless. I think it's pretty big that you have to take a step back and just realize yo, is this what I want to do? Is this situation that I'm in, is this what I'm happy for? I know there's times where we're in constant valleys or we may be in a very depressive state, but what we're doing, we know that it's going to be for the better. But if it's not for the better for you, then you're just literally going to be sad. Speaking of personal experience, I'd say for sure that once I found out that yo, I want to go full on with content creating and modeling, and I had to sit down with my parents and I was yo, I'm changing my major. That was one of the scariest talks too, because it was just I'm going from computer science and then I switched to CIS, which is computer information systems, just to see if it was any better, and it was just as bad. And that's when I was okay, what is the closest thing to modeling or content creating that I can get a degree in? And that's why I fell on to communication. And in my world, or a Nigerian household, usually if you hear communications, they they see it as like, oh, that's like an anything degree. Not even just Nigerians, that's just like in America. They see communications as, because it's so broad, because it's so, I guess, quote unquote easy, there's no really like work that you have to put in for it, which is not true at all, because I'm writing crazy essays and stuff like that. But once I sat my parents down and finally like grew some balls, it was for the better, because ever since then, everything I do now, even in my major, even though I don't like it, it's useful. I'm learning how to create press emails, I'm learning how to create pitches, doing things that I genuinely use in my career today, like writing emails and having the correct etiquette. But if I never made that decision to go down that route and go to communications and start pursuing what I genuinely wanted, I would still be stuck in that position, miserable probably, at a computer coding. And don't get me wrong, whoever's in computer science, do your thing if you really enjoy it. But I'm just saying in general, how long will you continue to work in a field or work in a occupation that you genuinely don't enjoy? Like, I get sometimes you gotta go grab a job real quick to stack your bread and just to fuel your ambitions. That's one thing. But just, I guess, settling in a job that pays well for the most part, but you truly hate, that's not valid. I don't know. I think right now, self-awareness and self-reflection are probably the biggest things that you could be practicing. If you're not really aware of your surroundings or understanding what you have going on around you, then you'll fail to see that you're probably not doing what you're meant to be doing. You might be stuck in a place that just feels comfortable and is paying the bills or is doing what it needs to do right now. But in reality, that was never what you were meant to do. I think really understanding what you're supposed to be doing, or taking the time to try to figure out your purpose or what you have like genuine joy for, that's important. Like, maybe it's helping people, or maybe it's creating, maybe it's cleaning. Like, it could literally be anything, but something that you're genuinely passionate about, that's what you're supposed to be acting on. Not the things that you were put on and you just felt like, okay, I guess I'll just rock with this for now. Don't live other people's lives. That really makes sense. Live the life you were meant to live. Can't really do that if you're following other people's dreams and not your own. So at the end of the day, it's really up to you. Hopefully I didn't ramble too much, or just like, I don't know, sound stupid, but yeah. I'm almost out of my hole, which is school, so I can post more often, but I wanted to get this one out for sure. And yeah, please like, comment, subscribe. Catch you on the next one.